This story happened so long ago that no one can remember the year. In those old days, India was often attacked by enemies. One evening, the ruler of the country, called Raja, was sitting in the garden with his vizier. Raja was thinking about a coming battle. What are these amazing figures? Why are they of different colors? Why have they formed ranks? Have you come up with a new pastime, vizier? It's a fascinating game, master. But it's not just fun. It will teach you how to map plans, win battles, and perform heroic deeds. Just remember that your intentions must be pure, and your thoughts must be sharp. This way, your army will become impregnable. Will it always be like this? It will always be like this, master. We'll call this game chess. It combines the power of science, art, and sports. The one who masters it becomes invincible.
Chess seems to be an amazing game. Is everything the wise vizier told us really true? People have been playing chess for more than 1,000 years, and yet they are not tired of it. So it must be true. We should check everything ourselves. Kids Academy has a chess class. Let's go there! Wow. Where can we find the chess class? The academy is so huge. One could get lost in it. I think we should go to the art studio, because the vizier said that chess is art. He also mentioned sports. Let's go to the gym. It's not the strongest, but the smartest who wins in chess. Let's look for the chess class in the science rooms. To play chess, one needs wit, will, and imagination. Follow me.
Hi.
Hi. We want to know what chess is. Is it a sports game, or is it art? Why do both kids and adults enjoy playing it? What is its secret?
Come inside. In Kids Academy, you will learn a lot of things about chess. But it requires patience and a quick mind.
We are ready to learn, always! In the next episode, we'll get to know the basics of the chess game, the board where the battles take place, and the soldiers of the chess armies. We'll also find out why the game is called chess, and why it most often ends with a checkmate exclamation. Stay with us!
Hello, guys.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Today, I'll tell you about chess. What kind of game it is, and why some call it sport, and others a great art.
Ooh, I know why the chessboard is painted with black and white squares so beautifully, and it's very easy to jump on them. There you go, both sport and art.
Yes, the chessboard is beautiful, but that's not its main feature.
And what's the main one?
It is designed for battle between two armies of chess pieces and their leaders, the chess players.
So these are the chess armies.
Yes, but no one dies in the battle. The defeated piece just leaves the battlefield.
This is the battlefield? And why is it covered with squares?
The chessboard consists of 64 squares, 32 white squares and 32 black ones. chess pieces form ranks on them and move along them, just like this. This is what the chess armies look like before a game. Both the black and the white armies have the same number of pieces, 16. The most numerous of them are pawns. They stand in the first row, and most often it's pawns that start the game. One should mention that all chess pieces move according to certain rules, and those rules are specific for each piece. Pawns can only move forward, and just for one square, and they can only attack their enemy diagonally. Pawns are simple soldiers of a chess army, but the bravest of them can turn into higher ranks.
How is that?
The pawn that manages to cross the battlefield and reach the opposite side, the home front of the enemy, so to say, can turn into any piece the player wants.
Cool! So it's like a medal for it?
Yes, a reward for the courage and wit, not just for the pawn, but for the player as well, because he or she is the one who leads the pawn's way.
And what pieces can pawns turn into?
Into any of these pieces, except for the main one. Let's get to know them. These pieces are more important than pawns, and the most important of them is the king. At the beginning of a game, it takes place in the middle. Each chess army only has one king. No pawn can turn into a king, no matter how brave it's been. This is the tallest and the highest ranking piece. It represents the purpose of the game.
This one piece?
Right. The game first appeared in the ancient Near East.
Yes, we had watched a movie about it before we came to your class.
The words chess and check came to us from old languages, and they literally mean king. The purpose of the game of chess is a checkmate, which means the king is defeated.
Away with the black king! Away with the white king!
If an enemy piece defeats the king, the game is over, even if there are the king's soldiers left on the board. That's why the main task for each player is to preserve their king. Am I right, Your Majesties? The king can move in any direction, but for one square only.
And who is standing beside the king?
It's the queen, wearing a coronet. It's the most powerful piece. It can move for any number of squares in any direction. When the game starts, the queen always stands on a square of its own color.
Why?
All queens like their own color.
Who is it ringing?
It's a chess clock. It's ringing to tell us that today's lesson is over.
Ah! At the most interesting point.
This is just the beginning of my story about chess. Soon, I'll continue it.
In the next episode, we'll learn the secrets of the chess clock, how it's different from a usual clock, and why it has two faces. Then we'll continue getting to know the chess pieces. We'll see the royal cavalry in action and realize how dangerous rooks can be. We'll also tell you why even bishops are part of the chess army and how they fight for the king. Don't miss the fun!
Hello, guys.
Hello, teacher. I don't really understand. Why does this clock ring each time at the beginning and end of our class? And why does it have two faces?
It's not a usual clock. It's a chess clock. It keeps track of time during a chess competition and makes sure that both players have the same amount of time to think over their moves. That's why it has two faces. It shows time for one player and time for the other. And since we're just learning to play yet, the clock keeps track of the lesson time and signals its beginning and end. The clock teaches us to value time and not to waste it. So, let's begin our lesson. Last time we learned about pawns, the most numerous group of chess pieces. Each chess army has 8 pawns.
Yeah, we also met the king and queen. And what are these pieces standing next to them? What are their names?
The pieces standing beside the king and queen are their wise advisors, called bishops. The king's brave cavalry stand next to the bishops, and the watchtowers of the royal castle called rooks rise on the sides of the board. As you can see, both armies have 2 of each piece.
What an unusual army! It has kings, bishops, horsemen, and even castle towers.
Right. This is the most unusual army in the world, and it's very old. It's also the most merciful army, because no soldiers were killed in its battles. Let's continue getting to know the chess warriors. The pieces that stand in one line with the royal couple are more powerful than pawns.
And how do we measure their power? Knights are brave warriors. They even have horses. It means they are the strongest. And bishops are wise and important. Even kings listen to their advice.
The power of chess pieces is different from people's power.
Huh, how is that?
Bishops, knights, and rooks can move for long distances, catch enemies by surprise, and capture them.
But how do they do it? I don't see them carrying any weapons.
They need neither guns nor cannons. It's not an ordinary army. It's a chess army. It fights not with weapons, but with wit.
And how does it happen?
The power of pieces depends on how they move across the battlefield. They all move in different ways. Bishops move diagonally on squares of one color. That's why one of them is called a black square bishop, and the other a white square bishop. The color depends on their initial position. If a bishop starts a game on a white square, it will only walk along the white paths till its end. The other bishop has no other choice but to move along the black paths. Now, let's meet the king's cavalry. Chess knights move in a very special way on their horses. Their moves are like hops. The knight's horse can jump over other pieces standing in its way. No one else is allowed to do this, not even the king or queen. The knight's moves are not straight, but L-shaped.
L-shaped?
The knight first moves for 1 square up or down, and then for 2 squares sideways. Its move reminds me of the letter L.
Like this, right? Is this an L-shaped move? Perfect! All that's missing is a fluffy mane. No way! I'm not a horse. A mane won't let me roll. And who are these?
These are rooks. They are chess artillery. They move in straight lines only, but for any distance, unless there are pieces of their own army in their way. However, if they face an enemy, they will capture and disarm it. This is what a chess army looks like. Both the black and the white army have the same number of pieces, 16. It means there are 32 warriors on the chessboard in all when the game begins. They have to fight on the 64 black and white squares.
Pretty tight, isn't it?
It just looks like that. Different pieces can move on the same squares. However, taking up chessboard space will help you win the game. In our next lesson, we'll tell you all the secrets of the chessboard, including the names of all the 64 squares.
Wow, they have names?
Yes, each of them. You'll learn about it in our next lesson. See you soon, guys.
See you soon! In the next episode, we'll find out that chessboards can be different. We'll see that there are special routes on a chessboard, and that chess pieces walk along those routes. We'll learn the names of these routes and see where they take us. Also, it turns out that all the black and white squares have their names. We'll tell you about these names in the next episode, too.
Today, we will have a closer look at the chessboard, and we'll try to understand how it's organized and what it looks like.
That's an easy question. We can see that the chessboard is made of dark and light squares.
Although chessboards can be different, they are all made of light and dark squares. Along those squares, pieces move. In a way, it's just like the world around us.
How is that?
We can often see dark and light side by side in our daily life, just like shadows and light, or night and day. Chess reminds people of life itself. That's why they like to play this game. Each of us has dreams and plans, meets difficulties, and has to overcome them to be a winner. It happens both in our lives and on chessboards.
You said that chessboards can be different.
Yes, even in our small classroom, there are many kinds of chessboards. One is huge. It's painted on the floor. It's great for watching how pieces move.
That's right! Rolling around it is pretty cool, too!
Another board hangs on the wall. It's very handy for studies. It's called a demonstration board. What you see on it are not the chess pieces themselves, but their symbols.
Symbols?
Yes, symbols are pictures of the chess pieces you already know. If you look close at them, you can guess which symbol stands for which piece. For example, this crown with a cross on top.
It must be the king.
Correct. It's the same cross as on the chess piece. The crown with sharp edges represents the queen. The horse head stands for the knight, the tower for the rook, and so on.
And what other chessboards are there?
There's a wooden chest with chess pieces in our cupboard. If you open it, it'll turn into a chessboard too.
We have the same chess set at home too.
It's the most popular type of chess. It's easy to carry it around and even to take it along with you when on a journey. And still, though chessboards are so different, they always have a square shape and each of their sides has 8 squares.
And what if they make it with 10 squares? Is it possible?
All is possible, but such a board won't be a chessboard. The pieces won't be able to form regular ranks on it, because there must be 8 pieces in a row. So the game will be a mess even before it starts.
How do pieces find their places on the chessboard?
To avoid confusion, there are special routes on the board, along which the pieces move. These routes are called ranks, files, and diagonals. We already mentioned them when we were getting to know the chess pieces. Ranks are rows of squares that go from left to right. Files go in straight lines from one chess army to the other. Both ranks and files are made of 8 squares each. There are other routes on the board as well. They are called diagonals. Bishops walk along them. Diagonals are inclined routes that go through squares of the same color. They can be of different lengths. The longest diagonals cross the center of the board. The shortest ones are near the corners. These are the routes along which the pieces move.
Oh dear, so many routes on one board. It's so confusing.
There's no place for confusion on the chessboard. You just need to know one more thing. Look at the edges of the board. What do you see?
There's a letter near each square. And over here, there are numbers.
Right. To easily find their way on the board, people numbered horizontal ranks from 1 to 8 and marked the vertical files with letters from A to H. This way, Each square has its name. A1, B2, and so on.
Wow! These 64 squares have 64 names? Why do they need those names?
You'll learn this secret at our next class. And for today, the lesson is over.
In the next episode, we'll find out why chessboard squares need names. We'll learn about the center of the board and why both armies try their best to take it over. We'll understand why pieces get more powerful once they reach this amazing place. See you in the chess class!
At the last lesson, you learned that every chess square has a name.
That's right! And you promised to tell us why they need names.
The name of a square is made of a letter and a number. This helps us array both chess armies correctly.
And how do we do it?
We need to decide where the chessboard starts and ends.
But all the sides on the board are equal.
That's true. Yet, the letters and numbers can help us do it. You already know what number goes first.
It's number 1.
And what is the first letter?
A.
The first square of the chessboard has the name A1. It's a dark square, and in the initial array of pieces, a white rook stands on it. The last square is called H8. It's a dark square too, and at the beginning of a game, a black rook stands on it. All the chess space is between those two squares.
Wow! It means there are as many names as there are squares?
Once you know the square names, you can write down the position of each piece. Well, Michael, tell us the initial position of the white king.
I think it stands on the square named E1.
Right you are. And what square does the black queen take at the beginning of a game?
D8?
That's correct.
And now me. I'll say on which square the white knight stands.
Go ahead.
Its name is B1. What's that? Am I wrong?
No, Bally. You've named the position of the first knight correctly. It's the second knight's horse that's neighing, because you've forgotten about it.
That's true. There are 2 knights in the white army. The second knight is on square G1.
Now, everything is correct.
From now on, we'll never get lost on the chessboard.
Don't hurry. This flat board is not so simple as it's... The two armies are watching each other closely and getting ready for a final storm.
Wow. And what are they going to storm?
Each army wants to take over the chessboard center.
And what is the center?
The center is the 4 squares on which the longest diagonals cross that go from the corners of the board. The names of those squares are D4, D5, E4, and E5.
Why is it so important to take over the center?
Here, the pieces gain special power. They can capture enemy pieces on lots of squares.
How does it happen?
Let's have a look. Can you see? From the center, the knight can attack the enemy on 8 squares, and from its initial position, just on 3.
Wow! It becomes almost 3 times more powerful.
The queen, when in the center, controls 27 squares. If the enemy drops its guard, it'll be captured right away.
27 is a lot. Almost half of the board.
Yes, that's why at the beginning of a game, both armies do their best to take over the center. The one who succeeds gets a huge advantage in the game.
On to victory! On to victory!
again. It means we won't find out who wins the battle.
If you study hard and get to know all the secrets of the chess game, you'll learn how to win yourselves. In the hands of a skilled player, the pieces can do wonders. But it's a long way. Are you ready to continue it?
Yes, teacher. Will you guys study together with us? Chess is such an interesting and fascinating game. Meet you at a chess tournament. And I'll be the tournament director. Don't you mind?
See you guys.
Play with me in the Kids Academy app and learn about math, reading, writing, and more. Scan the QR code or use the link in the description. Let's have fun!